Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. I know format's looking a little bit different. I usually have a tripod and a little bit more formal. But this time I'm actually finding I'm recording the intro to this video because I ran into a few issues, and of course we'll talk about that. First thing being is that I've done a little bit of work to the R33 now that it's here to kind of get it more roadworthy, and the work ended up turning out to be more than I thought, which is to be expected with a classic car or a project car. So the video ended up being way too long, so I'm going to chop it into smaller pieces because I know you guys don't like it when it's over 20 minutes. So there's going to be a couple videos where we're doing some work on the R33 just to kind of get it roadworthy, where I don't have to worry about potentially having a tow truck on standby. Now that being said, if you've watched some of my previous videos, I've already started doing some work on this car. I took it down to Sebastian at Specialty Z, who's a mechanic I trust when it comes to Skylines. I took my R32 GTR to him. I took my R35 GTR to him. My buddy takes his R32. So very trustworthy guy, like him a lot. He's pointed out some issues with the car that we've started to fix, and we've done that in previous videos. In this one, we're just going to continue doing things to kind of make the car reliable. Now, I did have a drive coming up. So whenever I buy a new car or a new to me car, I take it to a particular establishment here in Southern California that you all will probably recognize. So I wanted to make sure that there was a few things I did before I did that. So in this video, I'm going to show basically doing the HKS mushroom filters because I didn't want the foam to get sucked into the turbos. I'm going to show you a little bit of the drive that I did with my buddy Jesse and his R34. And then we also found an issue with the car that needed to be addressed right away when it came to the cooling system. So we're going to do that in this video. However, two things before we get started. One, if you do want to see more automotive, particularly GTR and S14 content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, I do have the JD Archer shop. If you go to jdarcher.bigcartel.com, you can see a limited selection of t-shirts I've designed that are for sale. But with that out of the way, let's start showing to get this car roadworthy. All right, so next on the agenda is to change out these HKS filters. Basically, Specialty Z said that it would be a good idea to swap them out. Even HKS himself says these filters are only really good for about 12 months or so, 6 months depending on what it is you're doing as far as driving. But these filters do have a bad reputation for being sucked into the turbo, so definitely making sure that these are new and not falling apart is definitely advantageous. So we're going to go ahead and get started on that. So as you may have seen in my previous video where I did the smoke test, I already had these out. So I think the easiest way for me to do this is I could try and separate the filters from these tubes, but this one's kind of up against the body. So I'm just going to take from the MAF forward all the way out, and that way it should be really easy to work on. And it comes out just as easy as that. Now this one obviously has the alarm attached to it, so a little extra. And out comes the other one. So easy peasy. All right, now that it's out of the car, time to get the filter off of the tube. Fortunately, it looks like we can get away with this. Just a flat head. There we go. Of course, you want to be careful with the MAFs. You don't want to get those dirty. Oh, okay. So HKS did send me an instruction on how to do this, but it looks like it was not adequate. Also, I have a concern. Well, these might be the right size. All right. So it looks like I'm going to need my hex wrenches. And out comes the filter. Now HKS sent some instructions, but they weren't exactly accurate to this model, so hopefully this works. It seems like what you do is you kind of build like this flower shape by squishing it like this, and it's supposed to make it kind of easier to install. And the goal is to not have any wrinkles. All right, so pretty good, I think. As you can see, there's no wrinkles, so it should be pretty good. I mean, there's some wrinkles, but they're pretty minor. But all in all, looking pretty good. All right, here we go. New filter installed. All these are tightened down. Here's the old one. You can kind of see how dirty it is, both on the front side and the back side. So with this, hopefully we will be doing a lot better. I'm just going to loosely set it for right now because I might have to adjust it when I'm putting it in the car. But now to do the other side. The inside and the outside look a little bit cleaner than the top one for some reason, but good idea to do both. Now, if you have these HKS mushroom filters on your GTR, I will go ahead and put a link in the description down below for where to get these replacement filters so they're the right size. You got to realize that there's different sizes of these filters, so you got to make sure you get the right one for your kit. And like I said, I'll put that information in the description down below. So fold it up kind of like that. Now on this particular one, I'm not going to tighten down this clamp at all because obviously here's the mount to the body, but I can at least somewhat get it put together. And I guess you can kind of see the indentation of where it all was. All right, and there we go. Brand new HKS filters in. Should be really nice for getting a little bit extra breathing to the car. All right, so as you can see, the car is running perfectly fine. I hooked up everything. Everything's done correctly. We got the new filters in there, which means you should be getting some nice, clean flowing air. So that project's done. Obviously, it's been a few days. I'm assuming I'm looking a little bit different. I'm not wearing the same thing I was when I did the HKS mushroom filters. Obviously, I just did those, and I kind of did them ahead of doing the entire video for some of the more repairs I wanted to do, because I had my official first drive coming up. Whenever I get a new car, I have a particular place I like to go to that I take my car as kind of like a tradition. So what I did was I had, like about a day or two after I installed the HKS filters, met up with some other R33 owners as well as my buddy Jesse. For those of you who have been following the channel, you may have seen him on the channel. He owns the R34 GTR when I compared the 35 and the 34. For those of you that are avid YouTube automotive enthusiasts, he's probably come across your feed. He is a professional NASCAR driver, professional D1 drifter. So his opinions are really valid. He does a lot of car content. If you're not following him, I'll put links in the description down below. If I can, I'll put a banner above my head to link you to his channel, because you really should follow him. He does a lot of content, really good guy. Anyways, so it was a pretty fun day. First we met up at what's called Supercar Sunday. It's this really big car show here in Southern California. It's every Sunday. Then we went to the old place, which is a really cool place, kind of up where the canyons are. A lot of motorcyclists and car enthusiasts stop there as they're cruising through the canyons. And then of course we ended the day at Neptune's Net. That's my tradition. Anytime I buy a new car, I take it to Neptune's Net. So that's what we did. That's why I wanted the HKS filters taken care of, because I knew I was going to be putting some good miles on the car that day. And the car actually ran pretty good. I was a little surprised at how well it handled. I will do a video on my impressions of the car now that I've had it for a couple weeks. You know, it's kind of like a new owner, my overall impression, so I'll do that video in the future. However, I did run into a little issue on the drive home. So on the drive home, a Hyundai caught fire in the middle of the freeway and created some pretty gnarly traffic. So I was stuck in about 98-degree weather doing about 3 to 4 miles per hour with the AC on, and the heat gauge started to rise. So it didn't completely overheat to where I needed to pull over, but that gauge was starting to get a little bit higher than I'm comfortable with. So I wanted to take care of the fan clutch today. Now, this is something that Sebastian told me when I took the car to be checked, that the fan clutch was feeling a little loose, but would probably be okay still for a little while, so I really wasn't looking at it. But with sitting in traffic and the temperature going up, as soon as I was past the traffic, the temperature went back to normal, leads me to believe that this fan clutch is closer to dead than not. So to play it safe, I ordered up a new fan clutch and new fan blades to drop in right now. As a note, there are about 3 companies that do make kind of third-party fan clutches, and searching online, the general consensus seems to be that they don't work. You have to go with Nissan brand fan clutch, otherwise I guess they don't lock up enough or they are too loose and your car is going to overheat with those third parties. So you have to buy a Nissan fan clutch to work. Also, looking at this fan itself, it's pretty cracked. There's a lot of cracks here, so I decided to, well, you know, since I've got to pull it out of there, ordered up a brand new fan blade as well. I'm going to install it on the new fan clutch, and that way all this is new and I don't have to worry about the car overheating while stuck in traffic. As with any of this stuff, like I said, there will be links in the description down below if you need any of these products for your car. But yeah, let's go ahead and start working on getting this old fan clutch out and the new one in. One of the first things you're gonna notice is there is not a lot of clearance between this fan clutch, the fan shroud, and the radiator. So we wanna make sure we don't damage the radiator. And looking at this, I'm thinking the best way to get this out of here is to remove the water hose right here first. Now, fortunately, I've not driven this car today, so as you can see, it's not hot at all. Hopefully, there's not a lot of water in this hose. So when I take it off, it doesn't leak. And then I'm going to loosen the alternator to put some slack on the belt here. That way, when I take off these 4 bolts, which is driven by that belt, it doesn't all fall apart. And then hopefully I'll be able to slide that fan clutch out of there without doing any damage. All right, well, these are actually 10mm on the clamps for the water hose. There it goes. Now that that's out of the way, the next thing I think I'm going to do is actually, see how there's 4 nuts right here? I'm going to loosen those because right now there's tension with the belt, so it should be holding it in place, make it a little easier to break loose. Doing it once it loosens, it might spin, and if it spins, that'll make those a lot harder to break loose if they're really on there good. Okay, so far these are not on there nearly as strong as I was worried about. Okay, so now all those are loose. I don't think I have a choice. I'm gonna take off the upper intercooler piping. I think it's gonna save myself a lot of problems in the future. Now apparently, when Sebastian was in there, whoever put this on the first time put it on the wrong way, so maybe next time when I put this on, it'll be a lot easier. But that should free and clear me to get at this radiator, and yeah, I'll definitely need that extra space to get this fan clutch out. Well, this is a real design flaw. So there's 2 bolts at the top of this thing you need to loosen to get it to move, but there's also one at the very, very bottom, and the belt goes right in front of it, which means you can't get a socket on it. What genius designed that? Yep, easy 14. Okay, so you don't have to loosen it up so much that the belt comes off. You just need to loosen up enough that there's not tension on this. Now it's time to get that fan out of here. All right, so something I'm gonna do, because the belt's loose and I can't, is rotate the pulley. And the reason why I'm doing that is I've taken out the two top bolts. If I take off one more, it's only gonna be held on by one bolt, and I don't want it to rotate on me. So if the bolts are at the top, not only are they easier to get to, but then it's less likely that the fan's gonna rotate on me. Now at this point, the bolt is getting a little loose, so I'm supporting the fan, because I'd hate for this to completely unthread and then all of a sudden fall, damage the radiator, and all of a sudden this job just gets a lot more expensive. All right, now to carefully see if I can wiggle this off without damaging the radiator. All the bolts are out. Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right, old fan clutch out. So here is the old fan clutch. Not really a surprise, you know, dirty, cracks. Looks pretty much standard. Now the advantage to having this out of the car is now we have the new fan clutch, nice and shiny because it's new. And then we also have the new fan blades, no cracks, nice. Now the problem is, looking at this, it doesn't say front or back anywhere on this that I could see of. But fortunately, now that we've got this out of the car, we can see that the deep dish goes facing the radiator. Because, you know, part of me is thinking, like, how nice would it be if it was in here, to be flush, give you more space. But that is not the case, so we know that it needs to look like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and line this up on the new fan. And then I figured while I was at it, I got new hardware, stainless steel, you know, figured it'd be good. I also decided to go with Allen heads because it'd probably be a little bit easier to get it in there. So go ahead and get these all started. Also decided to use some lock washers. All right, let's go and get this in the car. Alrighty, so once again, we want to carefully fish this in there so we don't damage the radiator. All right, so they're all four of the bolts are in there. They're kind of hand tight because as you spin it, because the belt is loose, the pulley spins. So next thing to do would be to tighten up the belt, and then I can go around and actually tighten down the bolts that hold the fan clutch to the pulley. That seems pretty good. All right, so now those bolts I'm pretty confident are tight. All right, alternator's good. All right, now for the one I've been dreading. So the reason why this top piece is a pain in the ass is just the angle of the intake plenum wants to collapse the hose and not let it pass that lower lip. So that's why it's a pain in the ass to get on there. There we go. Quick Quick update, pretty much done. I ran into a slight issue where the hose clamps decided to break. They're kind of like these weird hose clamps where Nissan tried to get overly trick. And so as you turn these, they separate, but you know, it kind of popped through this, so it just stopped working. Ran down to AutoZone real quick, got a couple of normal standard hose clamps, so that's now ready. So everything's back together and time to start it up and make sure everything works. All right. So, looks like everything's good. I can feel the air being pushed this way, which means it's being sucked across the radiator. No leaks. No leaks. Belt is not making any noise from the alternators, so I would say that this is a success. The only way to really know though is once I actually get stuck in some LA traffic and find out whether or not I overheat. So just taking a quick look, the push fan isn't on. Let's turn on the AC, see if that works. All right, so the AC is on, but it looks like my push fan is not working. And I keep hearing, sounds like a relay click. Okay, so that's something to look at. Maybe my push fan just doesn't work. But man, it feels like I'm hearing a relay click on and off. But that's the joy of buying a classic car. And there we go, a little bit more work done on the R33 GTR to help make it a reliable platform. As you saw, I did get the new filter material into the HKS mushroom filters. That way I don't have to worry about the turbo sucking that material up, at least for the next 12 months. And then I also started working on my overheating issue. Now, obviously, as I did say at the beginning of the video, the intro and the exits were filmed a little bit past the time that I did this work because I realized the video was getting too long. I wanted to chop it into smaller pieces. And I can let you know that changing out the fan clutch and the fan blades did not fix my issue. I'm still having the issue where if I'm stuck in basically a dead stop to very slow traffic, like under 5 miles per hour for more than 10-15 minutes, the car starts to overheat. I realized it when I went to Fuel Fest. The car was actually in the show, and waiting in line to get in to get my spot in the show, the car started to overheat. Of course, I was running the AC, it was about 110 degrees out at a racetrack, so that's not really a big surprise. And then I was driving it in normal LA traffic where we ran into another issue where traffic was stopped, and once again the temperature started to climb. It's never hit the H, but it has gone a little bit past, you know, horizontal, so it is slightly overheating. So it wasn't the fan clutch or the fan blades. Last time it started to overheat, I was running the AC, so I thought maybe the push fan wasn't kicking on. So I popped the hood, and sure enough, the push fan that's on the AC condenser is not spinning. So maybe there's a possibility that without that fan spinning, there's not enough airflow across the radiator when the car is stopped, and that's what's causing it to slightly overheat. So we're gonna take a look at that in the future. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go hit that thumbs up button to let me know. It does help the channel out a lot. As I did say at the beginning of the video, if you'd like to see more automotive content, particularly GTR and S14, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on all forms of social media, which include Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. There will be links for all those in the description down below. Now, after watching this video, if you have any questions about what I did, you think there's something I missed, maybe there's a better way to do it, go ahead and post in the comment section down below. I will respond to you. I thank you all for watching, and until next time, forget everything else, focus on the finish line.